more of a longer video. I think I've been doing, well, I think the videos I've been putting up, they've been putting them in as shorts, oddly enough. It's kind of funny. I'm pretty sure that I did a video today that for some reason did not upload. Or, we'll check that out. In any case, I just got my my car with a bad head gasket and a leaky radiator over to a local dollar store and back to try to get a few provisions. And obviously, money is scarce, so I am, being my Capricorn self, I do not splurge on things pretty much ever right now. Um, but I went in there and I kept thinking about like what's something that I could do to kind of not liven things up, but be a little more interesting, especially for my oldest who's with me full time. And I can't afford to rent movies on the Xbox or the TV. I can't take them out to do stuff. And I thought, you know what, maybe $1 video would do it. Now, what's interesting was like I went there to get a broom and dustpan so that we could keep these kittens clean. But I went to look and what made me laugh is I didn't see any videos there that were like, oh yes, my kiddos would totally love to see this movie. But just in looking, I found hidden within it what I think a lot of people would refer to as a signier sign, right? Like we all joke about you pray for signs and sinks, and then you pray for a signier sign, and then you get the signier sign, and you're like, but really? And I wanted to say two things first. Typically, the signiest signs are the ones that are going to make you probably question it the most at first. Like, you really have to be in a space where you're going to accept the signiest signs when they come in. And the second thing is normally they come in when you are least expecting it. Like that's part to me. Hey, Tarot Crafty. That to me, that's part of like how you know that it is a genuine sign meant for you. Now, before I share what the signiest sign was today, I want to say that like I'm in a space right now where separation from the let's see, of the 22-year journey with my DM, this is going on 4 years of separation. And like, I'm kind of in a place where it's like, I love him, though I'm also not in a space where it's like, why isn't he talking to me? Why isn't he doing this? It's more like co-parenting stuff. Like, why isn't he just getting himself together in terms of the children? Like, that would make me happy. I'm not in a space where I'm like, oh my gosh, it has to be me and him. We have to do all this stuff. It's more like, we have children. Like this is a different thing. Stop being a pirate. But in terms of the rest of it, like, I'm aware that I can feel the connection between us. I can see his actions. I can see that he's still the funny thing is like I feel like sometimes it would be good if he could see himself from my perspective, because on this end of it, what it looks like is like, here are your words. This is what you say that you want. This is what you're telling the world that you want. And yet, here's what you're manifesting over here, and it is blocking these things that you say that you want. And to me, that's just, I don't know, it's just funny. And then the amount of things that he does that it's like, I'm sure plenty of you have DMs and people you've been with that like on one side say, no, I don't want anything to do with this. And then on the other side, they're doing things to like keep the connection there and like keep the synchronous or keep the strings attached, so to speak. And so we're kind of in a space like that right now. But like I really wasn't, I'm focused on housing, I'm focused on the kids, I'm focused on what I'm gonna do for work that could sustain us so we don't end up in this position again, because I can't just like jump around job to job. Like I need something that can work with my physical limitations and meanness and things like that, and taking care of my kids. So like that's my focus. And like going into the dollar store looking at going, oh, you know what, maybe I could do $1 for a video like that. That wouldn't make or break anything. And then to find, it's funny, I feel like somebody's gonna watch this and gonna be like, oh, that's a sync for me too. I don't know, let me know if you do, because this is something that I find like I know that it is of the signiest of signs for me, because it's not something you see often. And it's a music video about India Arie, and in particular her single that became really popular in certain circles called Video One. And that is a particular synchronicity for me, because when I met my DM 22 years ago, he showed me that song, and he over the years played it, when I was least expecting it, and saying, like, the lyrics of the song talk a lot about, like, being this person that, like, follows her own drum, and, like, there's a line, and it was, sometimes I shave my legs and sometimes I don't, like, and she's talking about how, like, she's a queen in her own right, and she doesn't need the validation of others to be able to feel that way, and be that way. And what I love too is I'm looking at, I read the back of this music video, and I was like, it talked about how she intentionally wrote music like that to help encourage people to be themselves, and to do, to, I guess, not worry about what anyone else thinks, have positive self-esteem, things like that. And I said, you know what? I don't even know what the synchronicity is about at this moment. Like, I'm looking at it going, obviously, this is some energy from my DM, and this is spirit speaking towards this, and there's been some other things going on. So it's not just like completely out of nowhere. It's definitely fitting in with things, but I still don't know exactly what it pertains to, like, is it this thing? Is it that thing? Is it better communication? Is it the kids stuff? Is it just kind of like a divine "I love you" note sort of thing, like you're on the right path and just keep going this direction kind of thing? And I'm sure many of you could resonate with that. Like, even when you get the signiest of signs, like, when you get them, it's usually when you're not uber focused on them. You're, like, not in that mind space of, like, I really want to know about this, or clarity about that, or things like that. Actually, you know what's funny? It just came to mind, part of what this sign is about for me, which is that I was asking for clarity on other things, on housing stuff, on vehicle stuff, on things like that. And it's funny because then, like, like Abraham says, then you follow divine inspiration. So I'm like, all right, I need to go get these items. I'm going to try to get the car there and back and hope that it makes it. And I get there, and then I get this synchronicity. So it's like, yes, the focus on this is helping with that, so to speak. So, like, there's things that are lined up, and part of my prayers, my, conversation with the universe too, is about, like, what's creating this housing delay, and what's, what is there to be learned in the wait, and what things to speak about and think about and work on. And to be honest, I've had a big call to go back towards music, both in a career sort of way, and also just in a, like, I don't know, I guess building my own mojo, so to speak, like energy cultivating, building sort of thing, playing with that in a certain sort of way, kind of like what I did with karaoke. In any case, if any of y'all also resonate with the Sync of India Ree, of any of her music, or anything like that, or you've recently had one of those the signiest of signs moments, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. Until then, I will catch you in the next video.